the bidding will go through with the for expendable supplies at 25%. Again, this is not the normal. The usual rule is 50%. Is this applicable to infra? No. This is only applicable to goods. Okay? That is your the next is your SLCC, your single largest contract completed. The other one is your list of all, lahat, tanan. There are suppliers at West Visayas State University that were rated disqualified because we found out that they failed to include all. There was one contractor missed to include one, so that's the ground for post-disqualification. Again, the single largest would show your technical capacity. So that is the 50%. Again, the exemptions kita in infra and in goods. Okay? We'll go with the detail when you will be participating in any of the procurement activities we have at West Visayas State University. Specifically, in contracts where it involves small a and small b categories. Okay? Now, another non-negotiable is your pickup license for infra. If you submit to us a receipt, not acceptable. In the same manner, with the rest of the other documents, yung mga receipt that you have submitted is not acceptable. The only acceptable receipt is official receipt for business or mayor's permit. But we'll be checking that the purpose of the issuance is business or mayor's permit. Now, to show earnest that you will not be that we are dealing with somebody that is serious in procurement is your submission of a bid security. Okay? There are a lot of forms. What form of bid security? It's your choice. But at West Visayas State University, we encourage our bidders to submit what we call as the bid securing declaration. We also encourage you later on, for purposes of performance, your performance securing declaration. Now, for both of these documents, the bid securing declaration, there is a standard form. We cannot go without following the standard form. So that's the form of bid security. Another that is also very important, to show proof that you have complied with all the requirements, it is submission of your omnibus sworn statement. So kindly check, because there are instances that bidders are disqualified even during the period of bid evaluation. We were able to discover and establish that there are items, there are statements that are found to be untrue or contradictory. So we go back to the omnibus sworn statement. One is authenticity of documents. We allow us also to verify authority. And also in that particular omnibus sworn statement, it states the authority of the one who is submitting the documents. So in the omnibus sworn statement, we're also asking if the one who is signing the omnibus sworn statement or the rest of the submitted documents has the authority. So there are two forms. One is a secretary certificate for corporations, or that those registered with the Cooperative Development Authority, or a special power of attorney issued by the person whose name appears on the face of the Department of Trade Industry Certificate of Registration. If the one whose name appears, this is ABC, the one who will sign the document is also ABC, unless XYZ was authorized by ABC. So medyo mabusisi si West Visayas State University. Okay? To ensure that when you go through with all the rest of the documents, when it will be processed for payment, sigurado wala tayong problema. Because actually the issues that will crop up during implementation, whether infra or goods, are actually rooted on some of the issues that can be traced during the submission of the bid or even during the preparation of the documents that can be attributed to West Visayas State University as a procuring entity. But again, with regards to your legal, technical, and financial capability, as long as the documents as verified are indeed correct, valid, there's no issue whatsoever. That, as far as our experience are concerned, have cropped up. So again, pwede ba mag-joint venture? Yes, whether infra or goods. Now, how do you compute your net financial contracting capacity? Simple lang. Diba? Your current assets minus current liabilities. So far, we have not come across with any bidders participating at West Visayas State University who has not come up with a correct computation of your NFCC. Tama? So current assets minus current liabilities times K, the K is 10, not 15, minus the value of the outstanding. So where is the outstanding? Your statement of all ongoing. Pag zero yan, di zero. What if wala ikamuyas ang ongoing? You submit lang the requirements and state that you have no ongoing. How can we know that you don't have, how can we know that you don't have an ongoing if you don't submit the statement? Okay? So I hope you can still remember that there are those who are present here who have submitted na walang ongoing. But West Visayas State University rated you as eligible because you have submitted a statement. Okay? Pabayaan na natin yung foreign bidders. Kasi issue of reciprocity yan. Tama? Okay? At the same time, kung may foreign bidders that will participate, usually we have experienced this before for subscription. Okay? So if there are foreign bidders and you are a domestic bidder, you can claim for domestic preference. But so far at West Visayas State University, we only have come across with one. That was 2 years ago on subscription. But they have submitted all the rest of the required documents. Okay? Specifically, those that complies with the Apostille Convention. Now, may standard of procedures kami na sinusunod for bidding in terms of goods and services. So, ang posting requirements is how many days? 7. Pre-bid conference will be held from our satellite campuses who are into procurement. What is the next? So we post 7 calendar days. We schedule our pre-bid conference. How many days? After the 7th day. Tama? So when do we schedule the opening of bids? Yung mga dates niyan, those are the allowable. But those are the maximum, but we can have it shorter period. Okay? So, Doc Fabs, 7 calendar days. So, 7th, 8th day, we schedule a pre-bid. When do we have our bid submission? 12 days after that. So, when do we schedule the bid evaluation? 3 days after the opening of bids. Nama? Can we extend? Then when do we conduct the post-qualification? So these are things that are actually within the responsibility of the procuring entity kay West Visayas State University. Ini siya. But the requirement of the rules is dapat hindi kayo magsubra 90 calendar days to complete the cycle. From posting to award of contract. As much as possible, we're given 90 calendar days. Now, can you appeal? Yes, of course, as you have experienced it at West Visayas State University. Can you file a motion for reconsideration? Yes, as we have experienced it, and some of you have experienced it, filing your motion for reconsideration. Can we change the period as required by the rules to go beyond the maximum? No. To shorten it further from what is the allowable period? No also. So in other words, we follow the standard procedures at West Visayas State University. Can you, for example, raise question that we did not follow this period? Yes. Anytime you can file a motion for reconsideration or you can question how we go through at West Visayas State University, going through with the specific periods. Okay? But so far, we have been earnest in following the procedure. But again, from day 1 to 90 days, that is the cycle as far as from the advertisement to the award of contracts. Again, ang pre-procurement, skip ko na because this is our responsibility. I'm following what they have given me. So pre-bid conference, I've raised that also. It was correctly answered by Dr. Fabs from the Lambunaw campus. So may timeline kita da. Amo ni siyang medyo masakit sa West Visayas State University. And for the rest of the other procuring entities, reference to brand names. Wala ko exam, wala ko ginambalan ni Ms. Ro that I'll be giving an exam. So we have already we're done with pre-proc, we're done with pre-bid, discuss with you how we do with the evaluation, and then we go with the bid evaluation, we go with the post-qualification, we go with the award of the contract. Now, very important, that's why I have said, I just have to point out the most important or the salient matters or features. Reference to brand names. We are prohibited from indicating or specifying in our technical requirements for a specific brand, including also the specific requirements for items that will be included in infrastructure project. For example, kailangan maglagay ng elevator sa infra as a component, kailangan maglagay ng telepono, kailangan maglagay ng internet cables. We cannot specify the brand, but we can require that this particular cable should comply with this particular requirements. Okay? So no and reference to brand names. So we are prohibited in our procurement, including goods and goods component of infrastructure projects and consulting services. Sa furniture fixtures, wala naman masyadong brand, very generic. Sa IT, yun ang medyo issue na nagkakatalo tayo with the IT or IT-related equipments. Now, can we specify in our procurement branded? No mention whatsoever of specific brand. Yes, but our technical specification should not be zeroed into one specific IT. Sample laptop, it should not point to Apple, it should not point to Dell, it should not point to Acer, or to one that you have not heard of for the first time, or probably none have heard about it. Again, kahit hindi kami nag-specify ng brand, offer us, because West Visayas State University and its satellite campuses, including the medical center, is also doing a market survey. Don't offer us something the first time namin nakita, and then when we post-qualify it, problema. So what West Visayas State will do is to declare that particular offer as non-compliant for that specific item only. You know what? We had experienced that last year, and we have to send our technical working group to Zamboanga and to Manila, and only to find out that indeed that offer will later on be disadvantageous to West Visayas State University. We sent a notice, we disqualify. Nag-appeal si bidder? Hindi, kasi alam niya. Okay? Now, paano na laman, paano na balaan? We check. That's where the very important role of post-qualification. Okay? So, Kung brand na na-offer nyo is Acer, we'll check. Now, can we specify again? Balik ako sa una kong ginhambal. Sa una kong sinabi, can we specify the parameters of testing? Yes, in the instruction to bidders. If you will not follow, then that's again a ground for you to be post-disqualified, specifically for testing. Sa infra, the requirement is totally different, specifically for cement and for rebars, etc., etc. So we go to the standard test, okay? So what should be included in our technical specifications are the relevant characteristics, functionality, and performance requirements, except those for specific parts. Hindi naman pwede na ang brand sa imong sa imong photocopier is Jenny, anong brand sa mga photocopier? Sharp, butangan mo sang DAL. Di ba? Sharp siya, butangan mo DAL. So hindi pwede. So hindi mo siya pwede butangan sang Konica. Okay? So those are actually allowed by the rules, and then we go through with the alternative method of procurement. Okay. Now, then next. So I hope you're following. Medyo madasig kita mag-istorya. During the pre-bid conference, kung may mga issues ka mo raise, sa mga nyo, please raise issues and questions during the bid bulletin. We have experience last year. The bidder did not raise it during the bid bulletin and only raise it during the opening of bids and during the bid evaluation, and even threaten us. Okay? So if you have questions, raise it during the bid bulletin or you will be silenced forever. Okay? So raise it during the bid bulletin. Ito, hindi ito tama. Ito, kay ganito lang to, ganito, ganyan, etc., etc. Raise it. We encourage you. The reason why we're here, because we would like to emphasize that the most important during bidding procedure is you raise questions during the bid. So marami, sa supplies lang, those bidders who are here, you raise questions. Wala yan sa market. Or Nelly, Lenny, can you check? Or, sir, ano na yan, phase out na. O so Michael, can you check with Ellie and so Louie for IT-related equipment? Whether available pa sa market or not, based on what was raised by specific suppliers. Okay. Hindi ko na siguro i-repeat to unless you have problems with sealing and marking of bids. May problem ba dito? May question. Later, question sila, no? How many copies? Isa lang. Unless, during the post-qualification, or during the bid evaluation, ma-demand kami, specifically if you submit an electronic copy. Okay? For example, you submit an electronic copy, you send it to us, you're qualified. We would like to see the document itself, so we will request that to you. But how many copies? Lang. Isang technical, isang financial. Okay? So, ang pinag-uusapan natin is still lang muna the technical. Okay? So, clear na? So, we go now to the submission of the bids. Usually, yung bid validity natin is 120 calendar days. Okay? Bid validity yan. Okay? Usually, that can be shown on your submitted bid security. So, ano yung requirements sa eligibility tsaka technical? I have discussed it already. Ano yung requirements sa financial? Dua lang nang ibutang sa financial. For goods is your bid form and then the price schedule. Wala na. So, technical, of course, dapat tugma yung inyong requirements for Section 7. That's the technical requirements. Again, just to emphasize, pasensya lang, I hope hindi kayo nagkaka-experience ng halo-halo, ha? Both siling sa halo-halo, because I'm going through with the process, inputting some of the things that is not on the slides. Tama? So one very important consideration and what we have observed is non-compliance to Section 7. What is that? When we open the offers, there is compliance to Section 7. That's the technical requirements. Usually, ano ang kulang? Ang kulang is, number one, the list of the requirements as offered is not supported by the evidence. What is the evidence? Dalawa lang naman. Isa lang. Ano yan? Your brochure. Your brochure could either be in a form of an amended sales literature or any other documents that can be subject to verification. Usually, doon tayo nagkaka-problema. Yung supporting documents to your offer that is provided for in Section 7. Specifically for equipment. Not much for furnitures and fixtures, but sometimes we have experienced that on IT or IT-related equipment and scientific or laboratory equipment. But for the rest, wala tayo masyadong problema. Okay? Now, once you have prepared all those documents as listed, you prepare, as I have mentioned, for the third time, only one copy. You place it in an envelope labeled again as technical, then you place it, your financial offer, as I have mentioned, on your envelope we call as the financial, sealed it with a kiss, and place it in an expandable envelope and sealed it also with a kiss. Don't attempt to attach on that particular document an invitation for a dinner, for a lunch, or breakfast in a hotel. Okay? Because there are instances that can be a ground for you to be disqualified. I'll tell you frankly, there are bidders who have sent gifts prior to a deliberation with the Bids and Awards Committee. And that was also a basis for that particular bidder to receive a notice and part of the discussion of the Bids and Awards Committee that that particular bidder will be rated as disqualified for attempting to bribe the Bids and Awards Committee, in that particular situation, the end user of the project. Okay? In consideration. Okay? So don't do that. For infra, don't ever attempt also to do that. Okay? Now, pag nag-submit kayo, pwede nyo ba palitan? Nagkamali ako, I changed my mind. As what the former Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago has said, only fools don't change their mind. Pwede ba magpalit kayo? Yes, but you have to submit it in a form of a bid modification before the deadline. Have we come across with that? Yes. We have come across with bidders who are located in Manila who have submitted bid modification before the deadline of the opening of bids. There were bidders also from Manila who submitted electronic documents but submitted the bid modification after the deadline. How do we know that after the deadline? If it is done through electronic means. Remember, if you submit it through email, there's always a stamp. Tama? Time stamp yan eh. So in that particular case, it's submitted at 2:03 minutes. So 3 minutes past 2. So beyond the deadline. Was it accepted? Because all bids submitted after the deadline are considered non-acceptable, delayed. Okay? So that is as far as electronic submission is concerned. Yung certification dyan, next yung certification is a responsibility of the Bids and Awards Committee and the procuring entity. We have done that already. That's why we are accepting your electronic submission. Can you withdraw? Yes. But can you submit after you withdraw? No. Okay? If you will not participate, anong submit nyo? Letter of withdrawal? No. Just inform us that you will not be participating or ano ganina sa SIM mo, wala mo ginalantaw na sa Facebook lang na. Hindi wala mo lagi na bother. Ano ganina? Silent mode, no SIM, etc. etc. Tama? So, anong tawag na? etc. That's how you call it. If you are not interested, don't bother sending us notice. Or there are those nag-submit pa sa withdrawal. How can you withdraw when there's nothing that has been submitted? Tama? Okay. Pero kung naging submit ka mo, ma-withdraw ka mo, hindi na mo pwede ko submit. And that's what the rule says. Okay? So kami na bahala sa period. We'll inform you kung may mga changes. Kung ma-postpone kami, we'll inform you also. But again, postponement is done through force majeure. Now, pila pa ka minutes? Dugay pa? Dugay pa? Okay, sige. Din ako, may attendant, may audience tayo from Manila, no? So, kailangan mag-Tagalog. So, sige. Tapos na-prepare na ninyo yung requirements. Sasubmit nyo sa amin. Ano mangyayari? Except those that have, send yung padala nila, kung galingon nila, pinadala nila yung kanilang sarili, at dumating sila during the opening of bids, at andun sila and mag-observe. For those who are submitting, it's Facebook naman, and it's done through Google Meet. You are present online, and will know how we go through with the documents. So how do we go through with the documents? I hope that what we are doing in the main campus holds true with the rest of the other satellite campus and the University Medical Center. First that we'll be checking is whether you have submitted all documents before the deadline. Second that we'll be asking is that sometimes we ask our secretariat or we ask the personnel from Procurement Division, the division of Ms. Rosalie Kikoy, through Jenny. Jen, do we have the receipts or evidence of receipts that you have paid the required document fee? So again, if you fail to pay the required document fee, that is a ground for the Bids and Awards Committee not to accept your submission. Don't forget that. That is a required condition. So it's like before you get married, you have to submit a CINUMAR. Ang ganun CINUMAR? Certificate of No Marriage. In our case, you have to submit the official receipt that you have paid the necessary document fee. How much? Depends on the amount or of the approved budget for the contract. So that's how we do it. So, ano yung inuuna nabubuksan? Based doon sa submission. Pag yung isa nakapag-submit ng alauna, yung isa is alauna imedya, yung pangatlo is alauna 45, so 1, 2, 3. So we'll check first with bidder number 1, based on the time of submission. Except for electronics, minsan inuuna yung electronics. Again, dependent also on the time the electronic document was submitted to the procurement division through the back on its dedicated email. So what do we do? We'll check on the presence and absence of documents. Presence and absence of documents lang, ma'am, ha? Tsaka, sir, based on a checklist. The checklist that is provided also to you in the bidding documents. Okay? So kung 10 yung checklist, dapat all the documents on that particular envelope that required to be present must be present. Now, do we just check the documents based on face value? No. We also look whether the document sufficiently complies with the requirements. Pwede nga, merong Omnibus 1 statement. Wala namang notarization. Will that be accepted? No, of course. Tama? So we just don't check the presence of the documents, but we check that the documents are submitted is sufficient on its required information as provided for in RA 9184 and in the instruction to bidders. That's how we go through with the first envelope. Lahat. Pass, fail criterion. If you pass, good. We proceed with the second envelope. But we don't proceed with the second envelope individually. We check first all. If there are 3, we'll check all the 3 first envelope submitted before we proceed with the second envelope. If some bidders failed, is it the end of your life? Is it the end of your opportunity? No. You can file a motion for reconsideration. Alam niyo yan. Yung iba hindi man nag-file a motion for reconsideration, so we request, if you're not interested, please accomplish a waiver that you will not file. And then please also, kung sino yung nag-attend ng pre-bid conference, siya rin yung mag-a-attend ng opening of bids. Kasi sayang yung mga nagagawang documents. At kung sino rin yung nag-prepare ng documents, siya yung nag-attend din ng pre-bid. Kasi meron kami na-experience, sinanong kaagad dahil na disqualify sila, the one who prepares the document was totally different from the one who attended the pre-bid conference. Naturally, may mga problema doon. Okay? So, para wala tayong problema, kung sino yung nag-prepare ng pre-bid conference, we'd just like to request, siya din yung prepare ng documents. Okay? Para hindi nagkakaproblema. And in most of our experience, the one who prepares the documents na hindi nag-attend ng pre-bid conference, yun ang usual result. Ang usual result is hindi na-comply yung requirements. Okay. So, pabayaan mo na yung next slide. Okay? Next pa dyan. Next pa. Ayan. Financial bid form. Ayun, tinitingnan natin sa financial bid form. The bid form itself. Do we have a standard form? Yes. Now, caveat lang. Warning, ha? Sa financial bid form, sa infra, although allowed yung discount, ha? Allowed yung discount. Yes, allowed yan. But we discourage that. Okay? Again, we are reminded by our board kasi minsan, yung discount kasama yung labor doon sa discount. So it's really hard to factor in. Tama? And sometimes the discounts are phrased in general terms. So dapat pag may discount, it should be specific to what particular items of work. But nonetheless, I would just like to emphasize, we discourage discounts. At yung mga items sa goods, huwag nyo lagyan ng outright 20% discount. Kayo na bahala maglagay ng best price. Remember, the offer items and the cost you're offering to us is fixed. Fixed yan. Yung ABC namin is fixed, subject to price escalation, in compliance with the required rules sa RA 9184. Okay? So, ano yung titingnan natin? Bid form, tsaka yung price schedule. For infra, bill of quantities, ano pa? Architect Ibanez. The price schedule, a bid form, bill of quantities, ano pa? Ha? Wala. Hindi mo makikita yung dupa dyan. Ano, Brad? For infra, anong tinitingnan namin? Bid form. Next. The bid form, meron tawag bill of quantities. Detailed estimate and the cash flow. Yung detailed estimate, galing yan kay West Visayas State University. We'll give you the format for the detailed estimate. I hope we'll have, after this suppliers forum, consistent application of this particular requirement, not only for West Visayas State University in campus, but also to the medical center and the rest of the satellite campuses. And all other documents as may be required by law. Now, tatlong bidders, all pasok. Ibig sabihin, compliant, technically, financially compliant din. So what we're going to do is to check whether ikaw yung number 1, number 2, or number 3. Because during the opening of bids, we're just reading the offered price. We're not determining who is number 1, number 2, and number 3. I would just like you to be reminded, even to our brothers and sisters in the satellite and in the medical center, that during the opening of bids, number 1 ka. Hindi yun. It's just reading of the price that is offered to West Visayas State University. It will be subjected to detailed evaluation. So we'll be doing the arithmetical correction. Tama ba? Baka may kulang kayo doon. We are not limited only to checking the price, but we're checking also the other documents. That's why you may receive a notice that you are declared as non-qualified because of some of the things that you did wrong as per evaluation of the Bids and Awards Committee. So anong evidence namin dyan is abstract of bid as read. So that's why from that particular moment, we opened your financial proposal up to the time of award, meron tayong silent mode. No contact rule. Hindi kayo pwede tumawag sa amin. Ano nangyari? What happened? No contact. But does it prevent us from contacting you? Yes. Does it prevent us from sending you letters of clarification? Yes. So, no contact tayo. Tama? Okay, until such time, we go through with issuance of notices to you, or for example, you are declared as non-compliant, that you're going to file a motion for reconsideration. That's what we do with the detailed evaluation of bids. After that, we'll prepare an abstract of bid as calculated. So we'll able to determine kung sino yung number 1, number 2, number 3. For all you know, si number 2, yung pinakamababa during the opening, pwede maging number 2 during the detailed evaluation of bids. Kasi mali yung pagkabilang niya, tsaka mali yung pag-multiply niya. During the detailed evaluation of bids, one of the things that we check is what? We do the multiplication, the addition. We don't do calculus. Very simple ang formula yan. Add, plus, minus, divide, multiply. Yun lang. No calculus, no physics, no square root. So it's very pure arithmetical corrections. Okay? That's what we do. Ilang araw yan? 1 week. Can we do that in a shorter period? Yes. That's why after 3 days, minsan you receive already a notice. During the evaluation that you rated as what? LCB 1, then you will be subjected to post-qualification. So that's what will happen post-qualification. How many days yan? Timeline, 12 days. So sa post-qualification, dalawa yan, goods and infra. It's totally different. For goods, usually we sent a notice. We just check all the documents. You give us copy. We check also online. There are times that we'll visit. There are times that we'll visit your office. Or the projects where you have an existing deliveries. That's why nakita namin to sa may Zamboanga ang i-deliver sa isa ka-bidder. And then when we have this discussed with people in Zamboanga, they said na, sir, ganito yung problema, etc., etc., etc. So that's the reason why this particular bidder was disqualified. So can we do that in a shorter period? For example, hindi na kailangan ng 12 days. Pwede ba after notice, we go through with the deliberation? If you submitted all the documents, yes. Can we extend that? Yes, also depending on the conditions and circumstances. Okay? Now, if you receive a notice that you are post-disqualified, can you file a motion for reconsideration? Yes. Even if you file a motion for reconsideration, the Bids and Awards Committee is not prevented from doing the post-qualification to the bidder rated as LCB 2. Okay? We go through, but we cannot go through with the award. Okay? So, once you are rated as post-qualified, you receive a notice. Sino ba hindi pa nakapa-receive ng notice na post-qualified siya? Dito. Shine, naka-receive na kayo during the day before. Post-qualified, di ba? Ludi, ma'am, naka-receive kayo. Post-qualified kayo. So we go with the notice. We go with requesting you to submit preparation for award. Yung grupo rin yung CTIM, di ba sir? You receive also yung notice nyo, so we go through with the with the award documents. So in the award for purposes of ensuring na lahat ng documents, we give you the notice. Okay? So, it's now the responsibility of the Bids and Awards Committee, not yours. Ang responsibility niyo to submit as the required documents, including your, performance security. Yung performance security, pwede kayo pumili kung ano. But we would encourage you just to submit that performance securing declaration. Now, is there a standard format? Yes. Para huwag na kayo mag-submit ng mga mag-shell out pa kayo ng pera. So, magbabayad kayo. For example, you will submit an issue ng mga surety bond. So, para hindi na kailangan ng surety bond, you just submit to us a performance securing declaration. However, very stringent yung requirement. Kunting violation mo lang doon, that would already be a ground for cancellation. So on and so forth. Baka ma-blacklist pa kayo. Okay? So, amin na yung responsibility. But as to the choice of performance security, kayo ang may choice. But again, we would like to encourage you, no cost whatsoever except payment for your notarization. Okay? So we go next with the award. Ayan yung purpose ng performance security. Then, after you post the performance security, we go with the contract award and contract signing. After you sign the contract, kaninong requirement ba ang mag-notarize? Pwede ba i-request kayo na kayo mag-notarize? Of course. Pwede ba na kami na lang mag-notarize? Of course pa rin. So do we have a standard rule? In most cases, pag medyo problema, like for example sa Manila kayo, to ensure na it's on time, we request na yung notarize na lang. But in most cases, we do our notarization at West Visayas State University. But again, for the rest of the satellite campus and the medical center, please don't impose on the bidder concerned. It's your responsibility to have it notarized. No. Sino ba ang may napakalaking role to play in the contract? Of course, both parties. But again, ano bang services na kailangan natin? Who demands the services? Si procuring entity, si West Visayas State University. But again, hopefully, we'll be able to settle it at West Visayas State University to come up with our own very specific, hard and fast rule. Now, when it comes to contract, it will be notarized by West Visayas State University. Again, as what we have experienced, there are instances that contracts are notarized on the account of the bidder concerned. Okay? But we hope to settle it among ourselves that it should be borne by West Visayas State University. Now, can we deliver without a contract? Joseph, from CHBOM, can you deliver without the contract? Yes? No. Were there instances that you have delivered without the contract? Ayaw nyo na mag-amin ng mali. Ayaw nyo na mag-amin ng mali. Anyway, this is recorded. The rule is no delivery without a contract. Even without a contract, without notice to proceed, no delivery din. Tama? Kasi magkakaproblema yan si supply office. Anong reference niya? You're so excited to deliver. May kontrata na? May kontrata ha? Nag-deliver ka kagad pagtanggap mo ng kontrata kasi excited ka to show that indeed you will make good your contract. Eh wala na, hindi namin problema yan. Nag-deliver ka kagad tapos sasabihin mo, bayad ka agad. Eh, contract ba lang, bayad na. Di ba? In other words, ang rule is, contract muna, NTP, bago ang delivery. But there are instances na excited ka. Kasi gusto ko na ipakita kay West Visayas State University nung ready ako. Pag nag-deliver ka, sasakit yung ulo ng supply kasi tatanggapin niya. Specifically, pag hindi pa mabigyan ng kopya ng contract tsaka NTP sa supply office, ano reference na? magkakagulo if yung item to be delivered is also IT. Magkakaproblema din yung office ng MIS. Ano yung reference nila? To check the documents. Kita niya? Ayan. So, minsan eager tayo, but when we deviate from the rules, magkakaproblema tayo. Okay? Again, that's the general rule. No contract, no NTP, no delivery. The same thing with infra. No contract, no NTP, no mobilization. Nga. Oo, very specific tayo. Wala kaming pinaprocess na mobilization na 50% sa infra na ang date ng request ng mobilization is before NTP and before contract. Because that's already a red flag. May concern ka agad yan. Bakit? Red flag yan. Ang hirap i-explain ng mga red flags. Tama? Di ba pag nag-football kayo, pag may red flag, ibig sabihin, violation yan. Stepping the line. Tama? Why? Because in the process of payment, i-check uli yung documents. So magkakaproblema tayo niyan. Pag paiba-iba yung mga dates, o di ba? Okay lang sa courtship, marriage, and honeymoon. Tama? Minsan kasi, honeymoon, courtship, marriage. But in contract, nakuha niyo ibig sabihin, walang advance delivery. Okay? Wala. Now, may kontrata kayo. Pwede ba ibaliwala yan? Ay, oo. Pwede yan. Alas 11 na. Last na to, ha? Oo, wala namang nagpahambal. Non-race questions, eh. Tapos kayo, puro naman kayo peaceful picketing. Oh, very peaceful kayo. Ibig sabihin, yung iba sa inyo, pumipikit yung mata. Peaceful talaga. Oh, pag tinanong, sasabihin niya, ano oras na? Ibig sabihin talagang pikit na pikit. Oh, ibig sabihin, earnestly praying. Kailan pa matatapos yung lecture na to? Okay, sige. Last na to, ha? Pwede ba ibaliwala yung kontrata? Yes. Bakit? Sino ba ang most powerful? Si God. Sa kontrata, sino yung most powerful? Si procuring entity, si government. There are instances na pwede natin ibaliwala yung isang kontrata. Pwede i-reject natin yung lahat ng bids, pwede natin sabihin, i-declare yung failure of bidding or not award yung kontrata, or ultimately, pwede na hindi na natin i-implement yung isang kontrata. I'll give you one specific example. Meron kaming kontrata sa infra. Kaya lang, naabutan siya ng isang infra project that requires the structure to be rehabilitated to be demolished. Tama? O, ganito. May kontrata, infra, rehab. Kaya lang, bago makomplete yung implementation ng rehab, may dumating na kontrata at project na i-demolish yung i-rehab. Tama? So in that particular circumstances, the government has no choice, the procuring team has no choice but not to go through with the full implementation of the contract. Okay? So there are instances, sino ngayon ang pwede mag-declare niyan? In this particular case, the head of the procuring entity can do that. In our case, depende yan. It's through our president and through the board of regents. At Versailles State University, the hope is the board of regents. Jenny, yung pinakahintay nilang slides, pakita mo na sa kanila. Yung pinakahintay nilang slides. Ayan, okay. So tama na. Yun na yun. May tanong ba? Nag-attend dati ako ng isang lecture sa Cebu. Pagkatapos ng lecture, sabi yung speaker, oh, may tanong kayo. Sige. Pag nagtanong kayo, wala kayong certificate. Sige. May question ba? Ibig sabihin, may any questions or clarifications? You can call me You can call us. You can send to the Facebook of the West Visayas State University Bids and Awards Committee or our Procurement Division. Amin na Grace. Ay, si Jerlyn Cacho. Papadalahan ka mamaya ng isang thumbs up kasi nagtanong ka. Okay. Ano yung tanong ni Jerlyn? Jerlyn, magandang umaga.
For the information of everybody, there's a slider where you can actually encode your questions and we're just going to read it and Sir Umbar is very much willing to answer those questions. Online, so maybe we can, Sir, ask na lang to open the microphone siguro or I couldn't find it sa slider. Sige ma'am, please do. I think we can hear.
Yung tanong, is everybody okay? Yes.
Ma-open ang ang sound. Oo. Para? While waiting, maybe we can entertain some questions. Sundar is very much ready to answer your questions. For those who are here, while waiting for Ma'am Charlene online. Oh, very clear, good Zaya, ang discussion. Feeling ko, good sir.
Or wala sila naintindihan.
I think it's otherwise siguro, no? Okay, they're very attentive actually. Excited na sila sa magbibing.
Yeah, most naman sa kanila who are present here have attended our private conference. Siguro si Jerlyn pwede naman isulat doon sa no?
We have distributed actually a Slido. The QR codes are given already. I think everybody has a QR code for that. You can start actually encoding your questions. We're actually also Sir Umbar and the rest of our guests, okay, live, Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so I think everybody is alert siguro because we are live right now. You can also approach our dear staff who are here if you want to be assisted by how to use Slido, so you can also have your questions in there. So may we ask those our participants here, wala gid sa Undar feeling ko klaro gid siya. And I do agree, diba no, so Undar has given us a concise but very comprehensive discussion. So wala gid. May award, sir, no?
Actually, yung questions na reserve nila mamaya during sa ibang topic. Kasi doon doon na madugo. When they will be already asking for when are you going to pay for those deliveries we have made at West Visayas State University. Yun yung concern ng mga suppliers natin eh. Di ba? Hindi yung mga requirements sa bidding. Nag-participate sila sa bidding, rated sila, may kontrata, may NTP, nag-deliver. Bakit 30 days after, wala pang bayad sila sa Visayas State University? Ano ba yung nangyari? Probably yun yung tanong.
Or so what you have mentioned siguro, sir, because we have been with West Visayas University.
Ayan. Can you type? Ayan.
Arina, sir. So, Undar, I'll read it for you, sir.
If the back member failed to post an update on PhilJeps, what will happen on the winning contractor? So the question calls for two things. One, if the back members failed to post an update on the PhilJeps, back member yan. Hindi naman si back member ang nag-post ng update sa PhilJeps. At ano mga updates na pwede gawin ng back? It's actually not the back member, but the back secretariat. Okay, doon muna ako sa first na, kasi may kama ha. If the back members failed to post an update on PhilJeps, ibig sabihin, pag hindi nakapag-update si procurement, yung back secretariat on documents na kailangan doon sa PhilJeps, ano ba ang ina-update sa PhilJeps nung 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 secretariat? One, i-update niya pag meron ng award. So, i-update niya yan. I-update niya. Okay? So, kaninong responsibility yan? Kay Hope yan. Hindi ang responsibility ng contractor. I'll give you a specific example. Nag-award tayo kay SCR. Nag-award tayo kay SCR. Nag-award tayo. So, nag-award tayo kay SCR, nag-NTP tayo. Tama? So, may rules kasi si PhilJeps when to update and to upload the documents for contract and NTP. Pag hindi na-update ni Secretariat sa PhilJeps, yung contract tsaka NTP, hindi makuklose yun. But, walang effect yan sa winning contractor to implement the project. Okay? Yun ang ibig sabihin ng tanong sa pagkakaintindi ko. What will happen on the winning contractor? Nothing. Because updating to PhilJeps to close the transactions by uploading the NTP and the award has no effects on the implementation of the project. May effect yan doon sa ating responsibility for purposes of PBB and probably for us to go through whether we have complied with this particular requirement as far as inputs to our APCPI if needed. So I hope tama yung aking interpretation sa tanong. Okay? Ulitin ko lang, pag alternative method, hindi rin si Queenie nakapag-upload ng job order required to be uploaded. But natanggap niyo yung job order, as far as you're concerned, that's the contract between your firm and West Visayas State University. Updating the PhilJeps is the role or responsibility of the procuring entity. It has nothing to do with implementation of the contract. It has nothing to do later on with processing of payment. Gets nyo na? So, si contractor, si supplier, walang role as far as PhilJeps updating is concerned. I hope I got the question right. Hindi ko alam kung sino yung tanong kasi anonymous. So, pero maganda yung tanong. Maganda. Tama. Any more? Ako na lang magbibigay ng pera pag tama yung, pag maganda yung tanong at tama yung aking sagot. Sige, meron pa? Ma'am Buana, meron pa silang tanong?
One? Okay. Ayaw ng price eh. Mayayaman talaga yung mga suppliers. Okay. But I think, Sir I was able to answer that. Okay, question. One more question from our audience here at the CPE. Okay. Claro, sir. Oo. Progress, sir? Any question? Feeling ko most of them, siguro sir, not all, Gitman Guru are already members of, what you call that, stakeholders. I don't know what you call that.
Yeah, they're all familiar with what to submit, what to
Okay.
prepare. They're more interested when do we get our money back.
Siguro,
Which we'll discuss later, no?
no, but I think, concise, Gitman Guru, sir. Ano pa? Sorry, sir, Ma'am Jerlene.
Sir, by the way, Miss Claire,
Yes, Miss Jolene, good morning. Actually, kung titingnan mo, mag-i-issue tayo ng notice of postponement. And of course, mag-i-issue tayo ng bid bulletin. There are specific requirements na ganun. Kasi the one that is posted as the schedule is actually to be followed to the letter. Changing is based on extraordinary circumstance. For example, bumaha. Or bumaha, in other words, based on force majeure or contingent event. But not based na walang quorum. Okay? So, there are instances na binago yung schedule not because of want of quorum, but because of contingent event. But again, kailangan ng bid bulletin and notice of postponement. Jolene, pwede ba natin makita yung kagandahan? Okay. Sige, sige. Sige, sige. Pwede. Sige. Okay, yung tanong mo is pwede ba i-cancel? Yes, base dun sa sinabi natin kanina, reservation clause, na hindi na maging economically feasible, hindi na maging advantageous sa procuring entity, like in our case, specific tayo, West Visayas State University, to proceed with the contract. In that particular instance, hindi mo kasalanan yung declare ng failure of bidding o pagbaliwala doon sa proseso na nagawa na dahil sa Section 41, ibabalik yung inyong document, payment for your document fee. So in that particular case, it would be earnest on the procuring entity na ibalik yung inyong bayad doon sa document submitted. Because hindi natuloy yung kontrata dahil may intervening circumstances as what we have mentioned based on the reservation clause, Section 41. Salamat din. I hope I've satisfied yung tanong mo, Jolene. Sige.
Okay, there's another question, sir.
Ang tanong kasi, pwede ba mag-deliver wala pa na-release yung kontrata, can be delivered in advance? General rule is, sa totoo lang talaga, hindi pwede. What if granting na kailangan yung reagents? Tama? Nag-deliver nga. Granting nag-deliver nga. Nagsabi sa end user, sige, deliver natin. Later nagka-problema tayo, paano ka mababayaran? Nakuha niya? So in other words, any deviation from the rule based on the checklist will have a corresponding effect to the rest of the procedures. As a general rule, hindi pwede. Hindi pwede talaga. Pag nag-advance, sige, granting nag-advance tayo. Okay? But again, it's not a guarantee na later hindi tayo magkakaproblema with the processing of payment. As again, any deviation on the required standard has a corresponding consequences, which one way or the other may not be favorable to, one, the bidder concerned, and second, two, the procuring entity. Okay, so I hope I've responded clearly to your question. Pero sa totoo lang, kung hindi natin i-record ito, nangyayari ito. There are several instances where we said, sige, deliver mo, Anyway, dito naman yung kontrata. Anyway, dito naman yung job order. But again, we just have to base it on the general rule. No contract, no NTP, no GO, no PO, no delivery. In reality, we know it's happening. But there are instances when it happens, there are consequences in the rest of the stages as far as deliveries are concerned that has to be paid by the procuring entity. And then just to emphasize, hindi pwede makapag-demand si end user na kahit may kontrata na, kahit na may NTP pa, hindi pinasignan na i-deliver yung items. Hindi pwede. As a rule, hindi pwede mag-demand. May kontrata na, may PO, may GO na, deliver. Tama? Because the contract is not perfected yet. Tama? Hindi pa perfected yung kontrata kasi kailangan pa ng specific approval. Gets na? Okay, so I hope it's clear. That's why sinabi ko kanina, hindi ito parang courtship, marriage, at honeymoon. Na nauuna yung honeymoon, pangalawa yung courtship, later na yung marriage. So walang advance deposit. Walang advance delivery, sorry. I stand corrected. So walang advance delivery. As a rule.
Sige.
So, okay na ba?
Yes,
So
sir.
I can now go?
You can stay with us. I think we need your presence, Sir Andar, but I think everyone will agree that Sir had made actually a very clear, concise, and comprehensive discussion on his topic on eligibility requirements and bidding procedures. Likewise, Sir was able to answer all those questions siguro. Or may isa pa? Ay, okay.
There are other two yata eh.
Sige, Sir.
Okay.
Sige, Sir.
Dapat po ay 90 calendar days. Paano pag lumagpas po doon sa... paano, baka pwede ba lumagpas doon sa cycle? Ideally, pag sinabi nating isang cycle, in other words, the transaction should be completed within that specific period of time. Probably, kung ibibilangin mo, hindi sumobra siya ng 90 calendar days, hopefully may mga extension siya. That's why yung security na kailangan natin is 120 calendar days. Okay? In that instance, make sure lang na every time mayroon kayong ipopost na performance security, dapat it should be, the validity period is actually 120 calendar days. Correct, there are instances na sumobra talaga. But the rule is, dapat hindi siya susobra. Ideally, sumobra because probably there are extension with regards to each of the items na kung titingnan mo, sumobra nga talaga doon sa required period. But again, it's not the bidder who will justify. It's the procuring entity through its own bids and awards committee to make the necessary justification if there will be questions later on why that particular period of time was not complied. Iba yun sa delivery kasi meron tayong mga extension, so on and so forth. Okay? So there are instances na may mga situation na it will no longer be feasible, both practical and legal to continue with the project o minsan nakakancel. But again, those are exceptions rather than the rule. So I hope it clears things out from the one who made the questions online through our platform. Okay, thank you and good day everyone.
So thank you once again, Sir Jules, and Sir will be with us in case there are questions later on. Thank you for that comprehensive discussion, again, on the eligibility requirements and bidding procedures. Everyone, a big clap once again to Sir Jules. Sir Julius Andar. Thank you, sir. Okay. So that is just actually the tip of the iceberg. It's what Sir Jules had mentioned, because we still have the two topics for this morning. And so let's proceed with the next one. It's on actually the contract implementation and extension. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Architect Gerard L. Ibanez.
Next slide, Jen. Next slide ka. Asa pa? Okay. So, good morning again. So, contract implementation guidelines for the procurement of infrastructure projects. So, before I start my presentation, again, I'm Architect Ibanez. I'm the TWG for the furniture and fixtures, as well as TWG for the infra projects here in the main campus. So among the things listed here, I would like to highlight number 10. No? But before that, I would like to mention first the 12 others. No? So there are variation orders, change order, extra work order. Number 2, there's additional extra work costing. Number 3, conditions under which contractor that particular item will be handled. Number 4, advance payment. 5, progress payment. 6, retention money. 7, contract completion. 8, liquidated damages. Number 9, suspension of work. Number 10, which I will highlight later, extension of the contract time. 11, accreditation of testing laboratories. 12, evaluation of contractors' performance. And 13, other rules and guidelines. Again, I would like to highlight contract implementation and extension of contract time. Next slide. So what is contract implementation? This is the process of putting a contract into action. An effective contract will describe in detail what duties each party has to one another, how this ought to be performed, and what they will be measured against and when. So sa contract pa lang, this is already clearly stated what the West Visayas State University is expecting for its output for a specific project. No? What are the deliverables for that particular project? Next slide, Jen. Next. So contract implementation covers the following milestones. We have effectivity of the contract, contractor's performance of his or her contract obligations, procuring entity's performance of its contractual obligations as specified in the contract, the final acceptance or project sign-off, all other related activities, and the payment by the procuring entity. So when shall a contract be deemed effective? As mentioned earlier by Sir Ndar, who is the head of the BAC, a contract becomes effective either on the date of the receipt by the winning bidder of the NTP or the notice to proceed, or if an effectivity date is provided for in the NTP. Then on such date only shall the contract be shall start. All notices called for by the terms of the contract shall be effective only from either of these effectivity dates. These provisions must be stated clearly in the contract list itself, as stated in the IRR section 37.5. What are the procuring entity's responsibilities to the contractor if the latter needs to coordinate with other government entities for it to be able to perform its contractual obligations? So whenever the implementation of the infrastructure projects requires that the contractor obtain permits, approvals, and import and other licenses from other national or local government agencies, the procuring entity may, if so requested by the contractor, assist the latter in complying with such requirements in a timely and expeditious manner. However, the contractor shall bear the costs of such permits and or licenses. On the other hand, the procuring entity shall pay all costs involved in the performance of its responsibilities in accordance with the contract. So, for example, we have an infrastructure project. For example, we have a major project. If the contractor will be held responsible for the processing of the building permits, our detailed estimates will already include the processing of permits. So it is a pay item. So what do you mean by pay item? It should be delivered by the contractor. So at the end of or at the start of the project, the bidding, the application for the building permits will be care of the contractor. All the other documents that will be supplied for will be given by the planning office, but the processing itself will be carried on by the contractor. As I have mentioned, it is a pay item, so it is a deliverable as expected in your contract. So is subcontracting allowed for the procurement of infrastructure projects? I think this was already mentioned earlier by Sir Andar, but just to highlight some of this. Generally, a contractor may be allowed to subcontract a portion of the contract or project. However, the contractor should not be allowed to subcontract a material or significant portion of the contract or project, which portion must not exceed 50% of the total project cost. The bidding documents must specify what are considered as significant material components of the project. Moreover, except if otherwise provided by the contractor, it should not subcontract any part of the works without the prior consent of the head of the procuring entity. However, this consent shall not relieve the contractor of any liability or obligation under the contract. The contractor will be responsible for the acts, defaults, and neglects of any subcontractor, his agents, servants, or workmen as fully as if these were his own acts, defaults or neglects or those of its agents, servants, or workmen. All subcontracting arrangements must be disclosed at the time of bidding, and subcontractors must be identified in the bid submitted by the bidder. For them to be allowed to do so, subcontractors should also pass the eligibility check for the portions of the contract that they will undertake. For example, for infrastructure projects, there are specific items there that are listed. In particular, for example, a mechanical works. So we can allow mechanical subcontracting for a specific item. For example, air conditioning systems. However, this must be stated clearly first in the pre-bid itself or the clarification to the contract inclusions. No? So before we start, we already identify which items can be subcontracted. And then if ever that will be subcontracted, the subcontractor must pass the eligibility check as required. No? For example, he will pass the necessary requirements and the documents that proves he or she has the capability or their firm has the capability of performing such item. No? Sometimes these are the specialized items, no? Not only for the air conditioning, but for example, the air handling units and the elevator, for example. No? So the subcontractor must have the necessary requirements to prove his capability and his quality in terms of that specific item. And the warranty itself is very important. The warranty actually will be shouldered in all by the main contractor. No? So any subcontracting works, the major liability there is still belongs to the major contractor itself, no? As if it was his own works. No? Next slide, please. So now let's proceed sa, Jen, can you just scroll on? Extension of contract time. So these are the examples wherein we can allow extension of contract time. So no extension of the contract time shall be granted the contractor due to ordinary unfavorable weather conditions and inexcusable failure or negligence of contractor to provide the required equipment, supplies, or materials. So for example, we have the delayed in the delivery of supplies which was at fault by the contractor. So this is not a cause for extension. Also, if there is a works performed which were not suited or which were not compliant with the specifications and the contractor needs rectification, this is not also allowed for extension of works. Another one is an extension of contract time may be granted only when the affected activities fall within the critical path of the PERT-CPM network. So for example, we have an infrastructure project again. each contractor or the winning contractor will be required to submit a PERT CPM, wherein the scope of works and the activities will be clearly identified, specifically the critical path. So any items which does not fall on the critical path, in particular, should not be allowed a time extension, no, or otherwise approved by the planning office. No, for example, we have a activity of clearing, and then the contractor will ask for an extension because his or her dump truck was unavailable for 1 week. So that is not a cause for a contract extension, no? Because that is at fault, and that is not a critical item of works to be delivered by the contractor. Next one, no extension of contract time shall be granted when the reason given to support the request for extension was already considered in the termination of the original contract time, during the conduct of detailed engineering, and in the preparation of the contract documents as agreed upon by the parties before contract perfection. So this normally refers to the project duration of the project. So each project within the necessary project duration in calendar days, meaning to say naka-calendar siya, no? So for each month there's 30 calendar days, no? Hindi siya working days but calendar days. So if in our part the planning office already considered the non-workable days, for example, that project falls on a rainy season or rainy month, the projected rainy period is already counted for in determining the total contract duration period. So if it is already included in the calendar for this specific project, it will not be any more grounds for extension because again, it is already included in the calculations of the total project duration period. Okay? Kaya minsan yung always the problem here is the non-working days due to bad weather, no? We always encounter that one, the bad weather na reason, no? For example, there is a project interior works and the contractor asks for a time extension because of bad weather. No, then again the project is interior works. So if you look at the contract, the painting and the carpentry works are for interior works. So the bad weather is not a grounds for extension because it does not include outdoor works, no? So hindi siya valid reason ng mga bad weather na conditions. Also, extension of contract time shall be granted for rainy on unworkable days only considered unfavorable for the prosecution of the works at site based on the actual conditions obtained at site. So in excess of the number of rainy unworkable days predetermined by the government in relation to the original contract time during the conduct of detailed engineering and in the preparation of the contract documents as agreed upon by the parties before contract perfection, and or for equivalent period of delay due to major calamities such as exceptionally destructive typhoons, floods and earthquakes, and epidemics, and for causes such as non-delivery on time of materials, working drawings or written information to be furnished by the procuring entity, non-acquisition of permit to enter private properties within the right-of-way resulting in complete paralyzation of construction activities, and other meritorious causes as determined by the government's authorized engineer and approved by the procuring entity. Shortage of construction materials, general labor strikes, and peace and order problems that disrupt construction operations through no fault of the contractor may be considered as additional grounds for extension of contract time, provided that they are publicly felt and certified by the appropriate government agencies, in particular mga DTI, DOLE, DILG, and among others. The written consent of bondsmen must be attached to any request of the contractor for extension of contract time and submitted to the procuring entity for consideration and validity of the performance security shall be expandingly extended. So as I mentioned before, this refers to the unworkable days. So for that, the contractor usually pass to us the Pag-asa weather report, no, ang official na Pag-asa weather report for that particular period that is applicable. However, besides that Pag-asa weather report, we also want the contractors to submit to us a recorded weather chart on site. No, on site, the actual conditions on site. For example, the weather chart only covers only the province of Capiz, but the project site here is in Iloilo City. So hindi siya applicable yung weather chart that was passed because there again, the project is situated in Iloilo City. No? For example, also the rainy days that was projected was only in Molo. And it was not recorded to have rained here in Luna Street, La Paz, West Visayas State. So the actual conditions on site must also be recorded on the logbook. The logbook, no? So that's a daily recording of the activities, not only of the activities of the contractor, but also the actual site conditions and the weather conditions on site. No? If the contractor has a 7-day weekly workable days, so up to Sunday, naka-record yan. No? So if it rain on Saturday, then the time it rained should also be recorded. No? Sometimes they pass to us a Pag-asa weather chart, no, wherein it rained 9 p.m. No, 9 p.m. So if they do that, sometimes we do not allow the requested time extension. Why? Because the normal working days is only normal hours is only from 8 to 5 p.m. So even if it rained 9 p.m. on that day, it is not a cause for extension, no, because there again the working hours was only 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. No, so sometimes you would question why you requested 90 days and then we only grant 40 days. Because then again, we count the actual time it rained, no? So ang timetable niyan, merong 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., 2 a.m., something like that sa Pag-asa. So we check the actual time wherein it rained and the actual conditions on site, including Sundays, no? Because sometimes you count the days it rained, no, including Sunday. But on actual, you did not work on Sunday, so that is not counted for, no. So the actual days of work is counted for, and the time during that specific occurrence of rain will be counted for. And as I mentioned, the logbook is very important because that is also a key for your payments, no, because each project requires a logbook, no, wherein all the activities and the site instructions are being recorded, as well as the attendance, no, of the personnel who visited that site and the work engineers present at that site. No? I think that's it for the contract extension. Yeah, okay. Okay. So, kung may questions ka mo, feel free to ask. I have here si Engineer Hermia. You might know him because he is the project in charge of some of the projects here. And he is the one preparing the time extension for your projects.
So we would like to request everyone, any question for Architect Ibanez, and of course, Engineer Hermia is also here with us today. Just in case you have some clarifications on contract implementation or extension, sir?
Yeah, just to add, ma'am, in relation sa Apmon extension, no, there are some certain cases that we have variation orders. Because variation orders, change orders and additional works also entails time extension. So in this particular area, especially in variation orders, we cannot start the variation order if it is not yet approved. No? The word itself, variation order, is not valid if it's not approved yet by the head of the procuring entity, or in this case, the president. So, if any variation orders are being implemented on a particular project, we advise the contractors not to proceed until they receive the approved variation order. This is for the protection of the contractors as well as for the protection of the university, so that all works are done legally and according to the proper timetable. No? So again, no variation order, no approved variation order, no works yet. No? So if there are examples here and then scenarios here wherein, for example, end users or some of our colleagues ask for the start of work, please verify first that that particular work was included in the variation order and it is approved before proceeding and doing such work.
So once again, we also would like to encourage those who are joining us online to just send us your message. Okay, again, you can just go through with the Slido. Okay, we're also live through YouTube and Facebook. And of course, for those who are here with us today, okay lang ka mo? Namalipayan man ka mo din. Naku, seryoso ba sa atin sa buong okay? Sige. Okay. Wala big questions. Pwede kita kagamit sa mother tongue. Okay, anyone?
Ako may duga.
Sige sir, go.
There are some cases, time extension, in particular sa mga furniture and fixtures. No, we have experienced that lately. The timetable for the delivery sometimes would vary. For example, there are cases that the particular area, for example, for the combo blinds, na mga combo blinds natin. For example, we have a request for combo blinds, but recent activities call for that particular area should be renovated. No, so that particular winning contractor will deliver the said item next week because that is his timetable. So in cases like this one, we give notice to the winning contractor of such recent activity, and then therefore we extend the delivery period of such items. Or if any case, in any worst case scenario, we terminate such item, depending on the actual circumstances of that activity just recently was learned for, something like that.
Okay, Ma'am Ro, please.
I just would like to add to emphasize, especially for our contractors, again, do not implement any variation order without first the approval of the head of the procuring entity. Unless otherwise, you are willing to donate that portion. This is a true experience, no? I just would not mention lang the name of the contractor, but there are contractors na may mga initiatives sila yun, no? Wala sa hindi ka lang mag-react, ma'am, kay I just would like to make this as an example to all, no? We have experienced na may contractor kami very resourceful, no? Wala sa detailed detailed engineering or sa bill of quantities, ang aircon, nag-install sa aircon. Now the problem is, please bear in mind that the budget of the university as a government entity is limited only for 1 year. So maximum is 2 years. So for example, we have awarded the contract for 2023 and then, or 2022, or the money was released to us 2022, we awarded the contract 2023, meaning the validity of that money, of that fund, is up to 2023 only. So kung ano yung kontrata sa inyo, whatever the contract amount for 2023, ang mula ng valid. So don't expect that we still have the money to pay for whatever variation order that you are implementing on your own. So if we have awarded, let's say, 20 million, please limit or follow the bill of quantities as indicated in the contracts. That's why we are implementing the variation orders. Variation orders are actually contract amendments. Meaning, meron kita is either a variation order without cost or a variation order with additional cost. And you know, it has been discussed to you that the variation order is only up to 10% of the contract. So kung meron ka mo 20 million contract, you are allowed to, with additional cost of only 2 million. And that will be subjected to availability of funds. Always bear in mind, that's why it has been emphasized by Architect Gerard that, and Sir Undar, that no contract, no delivery or rendering of service. So same na sa variation order. Wala contract, wala variation order na approved, no implementation of any changes. Unless otherwise, that is what I have said, you are willing to donate. So okay, good, wala good problema sa university if you are willing to donate that portion of the construction that you are implementing without the approval of the university. And also, isa pa no, I just would like to remind, do not entertain any changes, suggestions, ano pa tawag sila? Additions from the end users without the concurrence or negotiation or discussion with our supervising engineers. That's why we are assigning engineers in our sites for them to act as liaison for the university. So same with other projects like infra, furnitures, equipment, supplies. Our PMO for supplies is a supply office. For the furnitures, we have Architect Gerard. For mga laboratory equipment, meron kami sa TW. Always, coordinate. Kasi nagkakaproblema kita later because you are implementing the variation order as instructed by our end users. Our end users are actually important part of the procurement process. However, sometimes you do not have the technical expertise or knowledge, no? Magusto they have that wants and needs that they are communicating with you. However, we have to prioritize what will be funded and what will be implemented first by the university. So, just a reminder. Kaya otherwise magka-problema, gigita. Hindi kami magbayad. We will not pay any modifications, any changes, any additions, any implementations without the variation order or the approved contract. Okay? Kung meron pa mga questions, so don't hesitate to ask because sometimes we are also bombarded with lots of calls from contractors, suppliers. So now this is the opportunity for you to raise your clarifications, questions, whatever that bothers your mind, so that during our procurement process, everything will be clear and seamless transactions that we will have with you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is a proper venue to for all of us to discuss matters, okay, for those who are here and those who are online. Okay, so kung may mga question pa, okay, very much willing, okay, the people here, of course, na sumagot na mga tanong kung meron man, if they're online, or maybe people sa nag-attend, okay, personally here at the Center for Teaching Excellence, or maybe they'll need some time, so we'll be having our lunch after Engineer Architect Ibanez. So siguro while eating, we'll give you the chance to formulate your questions, okay, para magtanong kayo. And also we encourage yung naka-online to please join us, okay? Send us your messages through Slido or you can just type the message, okay, using the Google. Mga ma'ams and sir, andito din, okay? Siguro mamaya, pwede rin magtanong. Copy everyone. How I wish also to use the si Sir Joskin in the mother tongue, but I think we also have some delegates or participants from other parts of the country. So tayo, either mag-Tagalog tayo maybe or mag-English tayo. But for us here, okay, pwede rin mag-iligay nun. Magkaray-up, pwede mag-natara-tato, magkaray-up yan, no? Sige, basta, insinyan, nakikita tanan, okay, pwede man ka question. Copy everyone. So, Ma'am Ro will have Okay, wala na questions. Klaro, tanan kita. Ano kita guro, ma-lunch na lang kita. Okay, we'll nourish our tummy. Sige, so I'll be the one na lang to pray for everyone. Wala din question before kita mag-lunch? Lunch kita na ya. Feeling ko may energy na sila karon mag-question. Agree with me, tanan? Okay, sige, very good. Manyaga, kita anay. Oh. Sige ba, magmado kita, mga di kita tanan? Sige, let's stand, everyone. Okay, so we say thank you, Heavenly Father, for this, for the gift of life, and for this opportunity to be together today. Bless this food that we're about to share, a sign of your goodness to us. Bless those who prepared it, and those who serve it, and keep us ever mindful of those who go hungry. May our meal and our celebration today nourish our bodies and strengthen the bonds that unite us in love and faithful service. And this we ask in Jesus' name, amen. Enjoy your lunch, everyone. We'll be back at, ma'am, 1 p.m. Okay, so you can have your lunch here. We would like to request for those na kung may mga bisita kita nga PWD, mga senior citizen, to please go ahead online. Kami lang, bigyan natin ng may mga maintenance. Okay, parang siya. Sige na, and then the rest can follow, everybody. Courtesy of West Visayas State University, everyone. We hope you'll enjoy your lunch. Okay? Sige, mga moms and sir. Para may energy ka mo karon yung mag-ask na some question. You can get outside, the food is served there, and you can come back sa inyong table, and you can eat there kag siguro maka-band man ka mo sa mga inod ni dira. Enjoy your lunch, everyone.